I didn't think it was hilarious when the German fans started singing It's Coming Home.
But in retrospect, it sort of was.
Yeah, the intergenerational memory is very difficult for me with that.
Yeah. I think my ego did still twitch with delight when they sang.
You're thinking there's royalties here?
I wasn't not so much
Foreign
royalties, but I like the fact, seeing Klinsmann on the balcony in Berlin holding the trophy and singing "Football's Coming Home" was pretty special.
Virgin Radio. Virgin Radio.
Control round of applause. Allow us to do that for you. Here we go. Yes. We can get the custard to turn, don't you worry. So, Frank Skinner, David Baddiel, Frank Skinner.
Yeah, I've met him.
Good to see you.
Nice to see
I heard you talking about your 5-star review when I arrived.
Yeah, but apparently it was a 4-star review.
Well, I'll tell you something, Chris. This is something I love. I don't think I've ever mentioned to Dave, but when you go around to Dave's house, he's got a doormat you wipe your feet on, and it's got 3 big stars on it. And I always think it's like a review of his life. 3 stars.
But not a very good one.
No.
Right.
So, very good of you to put it outside the front door.
Where
Well, it's good
and
for you
why?
to wipe your feet on
Where'd
it.
you get the 3-star doormat from?
Again, I won't have bought that. It won't have been my brother. That will have been
Might have been your brother.
Yeah, it'll be more Weather Banks who have bought that. But now you point it out.
I think
I'm
it
gonna
was
have
said by The Guardian.
Yeah, I'm going to have Michael
good day.
Billington, I think, bought it for me.
Frank, welcome. 30 years of dirt. Well, we've got to talk about 3 Lines while you're both here. I know you're both going on TalkSport in a bit. If you want a bit more Baddiel and Skinner action, they're on TalkSport from 9:45 this morning. Let's do the origin story of the song. Where were you when it happened? Where were you sitting when you scribed the lyrics? Who's responsible for which line? In the Lennon and McCartney, "This is mine, that's yours." How was it, Frank? Where was it, Frank?
Well, we just got one of those phone calls. You know those life-changing phone calls that you could map out every showbiz career with? We got one of those that said, "Would you like to do the official England song?" And looking back, and it was very odd. Ian Brodie was offered that thing of doing the England song, and he said because he wrote bittersweet love lyrics, he couldn't write a football song, so he suggested us. And then we wrote a bittersweet love lyric about football.
I mean, Ian
Is that
Brodie...
because of fantasy football then?
Yeah, Ian Brodie was offered the gig of doing the England song, and as you said earlier, it used to be a different song every tournament.
Yes.
And it used to always be "We're gonna win," which of course was not true, but the different versions of that, right? And then Ian, because he's actually a very
ironically, I don't think World Cup Willie said we're going to win. That was the year we won it.
Right, yeah, indeed. But Ian Brodie, who is in fact a very humble man, decided, well, I don't know if I'm equipped to write the lyrics, but these 2 blokes are on the telly doing stuff about football. They're sort of the nation's football fans. I'll ask them. And then, because we're not humble, we said, all right, can we sing it as well? Which seems amazing now that he said yes to that.
And
He
did
is
you
a
say
singer.
that just as a laugh? I mean, it wasn't a deal break. You'd have been fine without singing it, would you?
Well, it feels odd now that you say that.
Yeah.
Because I'm very glad that we did sing it, even though I didn't even sing it. I basically just shouted it, as you know.
So you were the Milli Vanilli of the...
No, I did sing it, but I'm being self-deprecating about my voice.
Oh, I see.
That's what I mean.
Got it.
Yeah, that is me.
So it was you,
As
but-
Frank, I think, once said, that the voice of the England football fan is basically my voice because it's such a bad voice.
Yeah.
But we know we did do that.
I think Dave's voice is what 3 Lions is about.
Of course it is.
For me, that is the signature of
And the
that
stars
song.
aligned, didn't they? And they have to for these things to happen. And you don't know where they are. You just hope that you're around them when they do. Because it was in Great Britain, so It's Coming Home, we were at home, and you wouldn't have come up with that lyric had it not been here, I would imagine.
Well, now, because of various political things, we have to pretend that we weren't suggesting that England is the home of football, which, of course, we absolutely were.
Yeah, we were doing that. But I think the thing was that what Frank said is right. That when we were given that job, and partly because we were doing a show on telly, which was authentically, I think, about what it's really like to be a football fan, we thought we'll write a song that is authentically what it's like to be an England fan.
Yeah.
And that is not this time more than any other time. Actually, we're probably going to lose. We're probably going to lose, right? But somehow or other, magically, we think we're going to win maybe if we're lucky.
And also, it already was home, because the Euros were at home.
Yeah, well, that's true.
Yeah.
But it's not just the home thing,
We were thinking more of silverware.
Yeah, I know what you mean. I know what you mean.
But I do think, like, one of the things about Through Light is I think the FA, who've always been kind of weird about it, the first thing that they were a bit surprised by is this is a song that begins, England are going to blow it away, they're going to throw it away,
Yeah.
right? And the whole song has a sense of, like, But we've got these fragments that we can hold on to, right? Like when Lineker scored, Bobby belting the ball, and that makes us think that we have a chance. And so that's the real experience. That's the point.
I get it. And also, ironically, we were with the most optimistic England manager of all time, Terry Venables. So, how many months or weeks before the tournament did you sit down? I want to know, where did you write it? Were you around? Were you living together at the time?
Yeah, first of all, I went up to Liverpool. I went to a Liverpool match with Ian Brodie. Dave was on tour, and we sat in this little recording studio after the game. So it was about 11:30 at night. And he just got this acoustic guitar and played the chords to it with me going la, 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 la into a cassette. And then I brought that back and played that
we were
to
living
Dave.
together at the time, quite near where we live now, separately, but quite in a similar place. And we just had Ian singing la 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 la. But he'd done the whole music, he'd written the whole music, and then we sat down and just wrote those lyrics based entirely on his la 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 la.
Do you remember what month that was? Ish.
Well,
it was probably about 3 or 4 months before. It was quite
organised.
It all happened quite quickly.
All right, okay.
Yeah, we had to send it to the FA, and they didn't like it all. And we had
Was it the official anthem then?
It was the official England one. Well, no, Mick Hucknall did the official anthem of the tournament,
right?
Which is a song I can't remember.
I can't remember that either.
It's called something like "The World Is in Love." One of those sort of things.
Last time I saw Mick Hucknall, he apologised to me for that. He said, "I'm sorry we did that. Yours was the one." I said, "It's fine.
Yeah, it's really not a problem."
To have a general sort of watercolour sort of background to the song.
Our song was the England song.
Right.
His song was the tournament song.
Got it, because it was in the UK.
Yeah.
So, so then it was a hit, and then it sort of did it begin to drop down the charts before the tournament started?
No, it went to number 1. I was in San Francisco. I went into my hotel room, and there was flowers from my manager. And a card saying straight in at number 1. And what about this for a manager thing? Straight in at number 1, 56,000 units sold.
Yes!
That's really romantic.
I think we beat Gina G, didn't we?
Yeah.
Gina G, is that who it was?
Gina
Went to
G,
number 2.
that'd be right.
But then, we have told this story many times, but then it did go down. The Fugees knocked it off number 1, and we thought it was over, I think. We thought, that's nice, we've had a number 1.
Right.
And then, as you said, England-Switzerland happened. We didn't play very well. Seemed like the song's right. We're not very good.
Yes.
And then in the second half against Scotland, basically, Gary McAllister missed a penalty. Gazza scored one of the greatest goals of all time. And in a way, the fourth man in the story, I think, is the DJ at Wembley, whose name I do not remember. But against the wishes of the FA, I've snagged them off a bit, but against the wishes of the FA, who said that song is too partisan for England-Scotland.
Right.
He decided to put it on anyway at the end of England-Scotland. And the key thing is, before any of us knew, this is a song the nation has taken to heart. Me and Frank are there. The whole crowd joins in.
Unbelievable. And so that would have been in the days when the DJ at Wembley probably was playing CDs.
Yeah.
He probably was just freestyling it and choosing what to play. So without him, maybe none of this would have happened.
It's possible. Yeah.
Wow, that's a
it's
great
possible.
story.
Yeah.
You've got to track him down. And if somebody does like a Radio 4 show on this, a proper deep dive into it, you've got to track that down. There's always the missing link.
No, I think he's an important person in the whole thing.
And so you were at the game, and for the first time then, and it's happened a lot since, you witnessed 80,000 people singing your song. So that was
not 5,000 Scottish fans, to be fair.
Well, yeah, you don't know. So they joined in. First time it happened, did you think it would ever happen again? Was it hilarious? Was it the moment? What did that feel like?
I seem to remember grabbing Dave by the arm and saying, soak this up, because this is the most special thing that'll ever happen to us. Because I always worried that Dave never really appreciated those things as much as I did.
That isn't true, I have to say. I mean, we were both incredibly moved, and I have said since, and I think they don't appreciate every time, that people say that the greatest day of your life is when your kids were born. That is not true. The greatest day of my life was then. It was unbelievable. I think that it did then happen again, and I don't think we necessarily expected it, especially back then with Holland and all the rest of it, because it was still very early days. But the first time it happened, when you don't know that this is going to happen, and something that you've done, something that the two of us and Ian Brodie had done, gets embraced in such a grassroots, spontaneous way by everyone. That is unbelievable.
Well, the Holland game, I mean, they were singing it before the game started. Everyone was singing.
Actually,
so by then,
That's true. One of the things about it is that, that first
That's
time...
the mic.
Sorry, I'm talking to Frank now.
So,
I'm looking away from the mic.
That way you can look at it.
No, it's all right. One of the things about it is that I think when you talked about it then, you were saying the crowd started singing It's Coming Home. Actually, the first time it happened, they just sung the whole song from beginning to end.
Because
and then
it was playing.
Yeah, because it was playing.
Right.
But then, during the Holland game and the Spain game, they started chanting It's Coming Home during the game.
So it was more haunting for the opposition, I would imagine.
Well, it became a chant, not just something that they sung.
Well, I was
afterwards.
there for all the games. A lot of us were there for all the games, and it was some kind of time, wasn't it? And here we are today. And you haven't tried to jettison the song. You've tried to sort of make way for other songs. But as I was saying on the radio before 9 o'clock, my son, who's 15, who loves the song, he didn't realise last night until we had the chat about you two coming on that he thinks that that's just our song now. It's the England football anthem.
Is there an England song for this tournament?
I don't think anybody bothers anymore because of the behemoth that is Three Lions.
No, we ruined it.
You didn't ruin it.
We
You
ruined
just-
it for
just
every
owned
other
it,
person
man.
who might want to do an England song.
It's
We
quite
might have done
incredible.
people a favour if we've killed the football song.
But what about tomorrow? I mean, we're back, take two, isn't it? 28 years on, we're playing against Switzerland.
Yeah.
And, a couple of weeks ago when we started off in the Euros, I screamed on the radio, what do I know about football? Nothing, right? But I do remember, because I used to do a show with Terry Venables, football show with Terry
Yeah, I
Venables.
remember.
And I do say, well, of course you do, because you used to work at the same place. And we went for a drink one day after the show, and I said, tell us about we got onto the Holland game. And I said, how come we were so good? He said, well, it was, could you not see? I said, no. He said, well, I just played 3 at the back and basically 7 centre forwards.
Right.
And I screamed on the radio the other day, Gareth, that's what you need to do. By the way, Gareth, you were the centre of the back 3, and it was a 3-5-2 and basically a 3-7. Guess what he's thinking about doing tomorrow? So he's finally remembered.
But you see, I think the reason we're having this tough time now in this tournament is because of 96.
Yeah.
Because I think that's probably the first time in Garrett's life that he took a risk. He put his arm up and said, I'll take a penalty, boss. It was a terrible failure. And he thought that night, I will never take another risk involving
life.
football again.
Full stop in my life.
I don't know about his life, but certainly in his football life,
Yeah.
I think he thought from now on I will play totally safe.
Well, he looks like he's going 3-5-2 tomorrow. Without getting too football-y, I mean, obviously you're still massively both into football. What do you think?
Well, I think, as far as I can make out, and there's quite a long history of this with the England team, there's a bit of a mutiny gone on with the players, and the players have decided the system's not working, which it clearly isn't. I know we've got through, but we haven't played at all well, and now we're facing a properly good team. So I think that's what's happened from what I've heard. And none of them play 3-5-2 in any of their clubs, so it is a bit of a risk. But for me, the key thing is we've got to be able to use the talent that we've got. For example, we have to start with Cole Palmer. I've watched Cole Palmer every week playing for Chelsea. He's kind of a genius, Cole Palmer.
And also, I love the way he sat in the dugout for the first half of the last game. He just sat there very quietly, just with his hand, his chin on his fist, and he was just like, "Well, I'm here if they need me." He was very low key, very low key. I've got to say, Alan Shearer's not put him in his starting 11.
Well, I don't want to disagree with Alan Shearer, but he's wrong.
The same. What do you think, Frank?
Well, when you said 3-5-2, I didn't hear anything after that. Because one thing I was telling Dave, about 6 months ago, I saw my first game in 1967 live, and I've been watching, talking, reading about football ever since. I have no idea what's going on the pitch. When they say flat back 4, back 3 at the back, wing backs, I don't know what any of that means. I have no understanding of the actual technical side of the game at all. Now that's if I'd watched someone doing origami for 60 years, I think I could now make a pretty good swan.
Right.
But I've learnt nothing. I don't understand.
So what do you think we should do then?
Just kick the ball up and attack.
Keep the ball. Who are your favourite players? Who's the superstars for you at the moment?
Well, I think Harry Kane, however he's done in this tournament, is a truly world class. My son was a Tottenham fan for a couple of seasons, and I watched Harry Kane week in, week out, and he's so brilliant. They're going about Mbappe and all these, but Kane, honestly, you could play him in midfield and he'd be outstanding. I'd love to see him have the big turnaround, but I love him. Also, he had I went to the Sports Personality of the Year in Birmingham, and he was on, and my kid was desperate for me to get his autograph. And afterwards, he went for a private meal. They closed down a restaurant and they locked it up, and it was just his family in there. And because it was Birmingham, I got the bloke on the door to let me in.
No.
And I got him to come over and have a photo took with my kid and stuff. And he was really lovely and said, we'll bring a trophy back for you soon and all that. Obviously, he was lying, but it made my son happy.
Well, we don't know. He might not have been.
So he's a good guy, I think. But I do love. He's so good, man. He can hit a 30-yard pass from midfield. Could you imagine Erling Haaland ever doing that in a million years?
Vassos, just tell us about how much history could repeat itself between now and July the 14th.
So we're playing Switzerland, who we played in the first match of Euro 96. We're likely to play Holland in the semi-finals, which is who we played and beat 4-1 in the last group game of Euro 96. And then in the final, we could either play, we could play anyone, but I suppose the favourites are Spain, who we beat on penalties, or Germany. And I was at the semi-final when we lost to Germany on penalties, and the German fans, to be fair to them, hilariously, were singing "It's Coming Home."
Yeah.
Sort of, they'd started owning it. But wouldn't it be lovely if in Germany we then beat Germany to actually bring it home?
Yeah, that would be good. I didn't think it was hilarious when the German fans started singing "It's Coming Home."
But in retrospect, it sort of was.
Yeah, the intergenerational memory is very difficult for me with that.
Yeah.
I think my ego did still twitch with delight when they sang
You're thinking
it.
there's royalties here.
I wasn't not so much
Foreign
royalties,
royalties.
but I like the fact, seeing Klinsmann on the balcony in Berlin holding the trophy and singing "Football's Coming Home" was pretty special.
That is a pinch me moment, isn't it? Yeah. Right. Dave, you're going to make way for
I'm
Frank
going to make
now.
way so that Frank...
You're going to hang around, though, yeah?
We're doing TalkSport, as you said later, but I am going now. So
right.
it's
I
been
like
lovely.
this because I'm sitting behind Dave at the moment. It's like I'm in a cab driven by David Baddiel.
Yeah, but you got a little desk, which I think you said earlier was like you were at primary school, which I also like.
No, it's like you're the central pillar of our back three.
Oh, of course, I don't know what that means, obviously.
And are you up front on your own? Are you waiting for?
I'm up front on my own, and now I'm going to wander out and use a free roll throughout Virgin Radio. Frank doesn't know what that means. See you.
No, do I. David Baddiel, My Family, the memoir, that's out now. All right, we'll talk to Frank about his tour, his extended tour, when we come back after these.